I'm Stephanie.
Hi, I'm Angela.
We are the Ink Mages. Join us as we discuss all things fantasy, world building, storycraft, myths and legends, and of course, our own imaginative stories.
Welcome to the Ink Mages podcast. We are recently back from Forks, Washington. We did the Forever Twilight Festival in Forks?
Yes.
I always get that thing mixed
It's a tongue twister. It's totally a tongue twister.
Yes. Well, we are going to do a whole highlight episode and share all the fun that we had up in Forks. But for today, we are celebrating the book launch and release of my new steampunk gothic horror, HEARTSMITH. Woohoo!
It's so beautiful. This cover, oh my gosh.
Oh, love it. I have to give a shout out to my good friend Melissa Gillieri because she did this cover, did the logo. I mostly just designed the layout and the little goodies. But yes. Yes, and I did include my interior. Some of my illustrations are in the interior.
So. Yes, and we'll definitely be highlighting those throughout the episode. But these paintings, I have to say, if you have not gone on to Stephanie's social media, so first you need to buy the book so that you can see the beautiful paintings that Stephanie did. But these are full-size painting, oil
paintings. Yes, that tip here.
That you can actually see in color here. I'm trying to get it flat. There we go. You can see in color on Stephanie's social media. They're fantastic. They're beautiful.
Thank you. I started them like a year in advance. Before the book's release, I started Sasha's painting in there, and I started that like in November of last year. So coming up on a year.
Oh my gosh. Well, congratulations on a new series being launched. And this book is so beautiful. I love this book. I hate to say that I have favorites because honestly, the Iron Kingdom series, I have to say, are some of my favorite characters that Stephanie has written. But this book, for whatever reason, took me on such a unique, fun adventure ride. I got so many like Star Wars vibes and Treasure Planet vibes and Frankenstein vibes, and it was creepy without just totally steamrolling me. And I love the main character, Aaron, so much. I had so much fun getting to be the beta reader and the ARC reader, and now I've got my own signed copy of the book. And I mean, how great does it feel to now have this book out?
It's very surreal because, you know, when I released the Iron Kingdom series, I had recently wrote The Conjurer's Curse.
Yes.
And then I queried it and it got picked up and published. This I started 8 years ago. Okay.
Wow.
Like 2016, I was part of a very small writers group. There was just 3 of us. And we were doing writing prompts. I am not the biggest fan of writing prompts, I will tell you. My brain does not work very fast when it comes to story ideas and concepts. But for whatever reason, we did a writing prompt and I waited till the last minute. We were meeting that day and I'm like, I need a story. And so a steampunk idea had been percolating in my mind for some time. And so the prompt for this story was your character makes a decision that leads to like has dire consequences.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he makes a decision that seems right, but there are big consequences. It's like that was the premise for this prompt. And because of that, I started the story with Aaron, and he's a tinker and he's an orphan. So I'm definitely was inspired by Oliver Twist. And he goes to a metropolis city called Rexenberg, and he wants a fresh start. He wants to open a business and kind of leave his life behind from being an orphan in an orphanage in a very, very small rural town. But little does he know that day, big life changes are going to happen. He's going to get involved in something that he should have stayed clear of, but he wanted to do the right thing, and his life is forever changed at the end of the outcome.
I love just in the opening scene, the visuals of this world. You get such a clear, solid, easy glimpse of this world that you built with the different layers and hierarchy of the society and the what are they called? The steamships?
Yep, you've
What are
got
those? Okay, airships.
airships.
There we go.
I say sky ships, and then I have like different classes. There's like sky
Yeah.
skiffs, which is like a like a
Yeah.
fast, it'd be like a race car, but like
Yeah.
in the sky.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's really it's epically built, and so you're getting this instant idea of this kind of Charles Dickens-esque world with all of this technology, and it just lights your imagination. But what I love is sometimes when I'm being introduced to a whole new world, fantasy world, it's hard sometimes for my brain to gather all of the elements and have a clear visual. And as the story goes, usually I'll start getting that visual and it starts to kind of set in. This one, it was like from the very beginning, there was enough reference to things familiar that I was able to like see this world and be captured by it right away.
Thank you. It's fun because it opens with Aaron on a train. So like we can all picture a train.
Yes.
That's normal. But then it's like the world just opens up. And now it's think Dickens world, think like something Industrial Revolution, like England or Germany in some big metropolis. And then it's like Star Wars. I'm imagining like a
Yeah.
Coruscant
Yeah.
city where the sky towers just keep going up, and there's airships that fly around and they dock, way up
Yes.
there. But then you have all the denizens who live down below, and sometimes things get a little crazy and debris can fall if there's a sky skirmish. So it seems like normal and mundane, but then it's like as he discovers more and more, it gets a little more fantastical and more fantastical. And you're just kind of invited into this world through his lens because he's new to it too.
Yeah. And very instantly we discover that there's kind of this hierarchy of kind of mobster-esque type people who live in the city that make
Mm-hmm.
it difficult for the average lower beings to just successfully live in a society without there being all kind of anarchy.
Yes, and I was definitely inspired by like German industry. So I wanted a lot of the
Mm.
terms to have a I guess Germanic feel. So like
Mm.
the elites that do live up in the sky towers, the word is Hoch,
Mm.
Hoch, which just means high, I think, in Germany.
Yeah.
So I wanted to set it apart so it is influenced by Dickens, but then I'm kind of melding two different like cultures and then making it my
Yes.
own. So it feels like if you like Dickens and you like Oliver Twist and you like David Copperfield and that whole setting and dealing with the different echelon of like the runaways and the poor people who have to be in the workhouses, and then you have the elites who like don't ever deign to like look upon them. I'm kind of doing that social class structure, but in
Yeah.
a fantasy setting that is very lighthearted and fun, but then
Yeah.
has that dose of macabre.
Definitely.
And
Yeah.
that's where I weave in this fun Frankenstein-esque mystery that's going on in the background, and then it becomes like more in the forefront. But yeah, that was really fun to explore putting like Dickens, Frankenstein, and like Star Wars, and then like Treasure
Yes.
Planet.
Yes.
I love Treasure Planet. Okay. Because again, it was
You can
melding.
definitely feel those vibes in
Yes,
certain scenes and
that
parts of the
that
story.
story is incredible because it's melding an old classic with like a Victorian England setting, but then it's like sci-fi. So
Yes,
I
very, yeah.
so I kind of experimented with that, and that's where Heartsmith is just a wild genre mashup.
Yes,
and
and it
it
isn't
worked somehow.
when you read, steampunk or you think of the steampunk genre, automatically certain things come into your mind as far as what that looks like. And you have elements of that, but I would say that your take is very unique. And let's talk a little bit about some of my favorite parts of your story, which are the
Ooh,
runaways. In fact, I'm sitting here,
yes.
I'm looking in your book currently trying to find the
Oh,
painting of a
okay.
particular somebody. So,
It's
oh, found it.
chapter 12 right before. Yep.
There he is.
This is Tip Jesper. He is
Yes.
definitely a rascallion. Oh man, he's a charmer. He's a smooth talker. The story behind him is really funny because again, it's influenced by Oliver Twist, and I think I had started this book in 2016 and then it just sat
Yeah.
for years.
Mm.
And I got to a place where like I didn't know where the story was going, but kind of picked it up again in 2020. And that's a whole story as far as like what got me into writing it again. There was a contest and I entered, put 3 chapters out and won gold. So I was like, hey, I've
Woo!
got a story
Yeah.
here. But I didn't know what the conflict was. So
Yeah.
eventually, when I started brainstorming with my sister, Liz, because I brainstorm a lot with her, we uh we were watching an old Wishbone episode. We were like going back and watching all these old cartoons and shows that we liked as a kid. We just stumbled upon it.
Yeah.
And they had a Wishbone episode on YouTube, and it was Oliver Twist.
Oh, wow.
And yet there's the Artful Dodger. And I thought, well, that would be fun
Mm.
for Aaron to meet some like runaway kids, like streetwise, street smart kids at some point in the story. So that's kind of where I got the idea that like I wanted Tip to be my own version of the Artful Dodger.
His rhetoric is golden.
Oh
Like
my
I
gosh.
love reading him because he's mouthy, but in the best sort of way.
Yes. And I had to visualize him. So it's like a point in the story, Aaron teams up with Sasha, she's a sassy, redheaded journalist who loves all things macabre. So their banter is great. So
Yes, it is.
at a point in the story, they like delve into the seedy part of Rexenberg, a place called the Basin Slum Yard.
Mm.
And they're out to investigate. And so they see this, young guy there in the middle of this courtyard. And I was trying to visualize him. Like, who do they see? Who is he? Like, what does he look like? And I just pictured this like handsome, young black guy that kind of was like a young looking Michael Jackson in a red suit. That's what I imagined. That's what I saw. I was like, well, that's it. That's my
Yeah.
character. That's Tip. He's gonna have just a golden smile, a charming smile. He's gonna have this fro, and he's gonna have a ridiculous red velvet top hat. Red coattails just look absolutely flamboyant, but it goes with his personality that he likes to catch the eye and he likes to charm with his voice, and he's just so fun to write. And I loved that he has nicknames for everybody.
Yeah.
Just instantly he's got a way to kind of sum up people and gives him a nickname, and I love him. He's
very streetwise, which makes him very charming.
Streetwise, but like just watch out. Like
yeah. Unpredictable. Which makes a fun character. And then we didn't really get to talk about Sasha very much. So introduce us to her a little bit.
So, I'm like trying to think of her origin, but I know that to really make her stand out, I based her off of a really good close friend of mine, and that is my artist friend, Melissa.
Who did the cover.
Who did the cover. Yes. So I have known Melissa for years, and she is such a fun gal, but she likes the macabre. She loves spiders. She has a pet spider. As I was painting the pictures for this story, she's got a tarantula behind us. Like,
oh my gosh. No thanks.
And like a year ago, she was working on a mural for the city, and I was just brainstorming stuff with her about Sasha, and I was like, you know what? I think I based her off of you. Like, I'm not even really realizing it. I'm like, because I'm not someone that's necessarily into the macabre, but I'm like, I spent enough time around Melissa that like I like that she's into those things, loves Edgar Allan Poe, likes painting, really pretty stuff, but then odd things.
Little dark edges.
So I was like, I'm gonna base Sasha off of her. And it really helped her come alive. And she's a journalist. She loves to get to the bottom, get to the truth. And there is a family dynamic that I won't say per se because I don't want to do spoilers. But there's
spoilers.
a reason she is investigating this dark case that does revolve around bodies going missing. So I will just leave that there.
Yes.
But she's super fun, super sassy, and I love all her little quirks of liking spiders, liking cemeteries. She finds beauty in death, and I explore that a bit in the sequel, which has been fun. So
Well, she melds so well into, like you say, kind of a Frankenstein-esque vibe that is in this story a little bit, and manages, even in her macabreness, to be a bright light in
mhm.
the story. She's very bright. In her darkness, she's actually very sparkly. And and I really like her because I feel like she is, even for Erin, a bright light. She's a beacon and hope for him. And I think he's hope for her a little bit.
Yes.
I like that combination of the two of them kind of being that for each other, because they're both in kind of difficult situations in their life in different ways. So I like them for each other. So tell us a little bit about your antagonist.
Ooh, it's like which one? But
I know, I
we
know. That's why I was
we will.
like, I'm going to let you go what way you want
Yes.
to, because I'm like, I don't want any spoilers, and certainly, yeah. So
We
I'll
will
let you go.
focus we'll focus on the main one, and the one that, if you do follow my, social media, you will notice that X Zombie just did a wonderful character art for
Yay,
him.
zombie! Yay!
Yes, I just blown away with all the little details, and that is Slumyard Ghoul.
Ooh.
I just love the name.
Yeah.
So, kind of gives it's with that spooky vibe in the story, and he's a bit of a mystery, like, don't want to give spoilers, and his background, nobody really knows who he is, where he came from. Things are shrouded in rumors and mystery, but he was fun to like create. And so when my characters do stumble upon him, it is in a dark, dangerous location. And can't say too much, but it was fun because, again, I'm influenced by so many things, and I love Star Wars, and like
Mhm.
I really wanted to have somebody that kind of embodies the steampunk aspect of
Mhm.
having like a mechanical arm, or mechanical gadgets. Automatons are really big in the steampunk
Yes,
genre,
yes.
super big. So I wanted to kind of have somebody who was like a cyborg, but in a steampunk version.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like a little like Darth Vader, but totally different. And I just love his look. X Zombie did so good capturing his look with his mask, and he wears a dark trench coat, and you never know what he's got up his sleeve.
Yeah, if you ever want any animated characters done for your books, look into X Zombie. She does such fun work. Um, I have to say, with your books, especially this particular book, The Heartsmith, there were moments where you had me so on the edge of my seat, I had to just put the book down and take a deep breath, because I don't trust you with making sure that characters' safety is going to actually happen. You're like, I hope they get out, but I don't know if they will. And there were times where it's heart pounding, adventure, exciting,
Yes.
scenes. And I like that you do that with your stories, that I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't know if they're going to make it out. And then if the worst does happen, I don't see a solution. Like, that's why I'm like, what's the solution going to be to this? And so I love that there are several. I mean, I'm thinking of several scenes, again, no spoilers, in the book where it was just heart pounding, exciting. I have to say, some of my favorite parts were with the airships. That was just epic. I mean, that was where it really went to Star Wars land for me. And
Yes.
it was so, so fun and well written. You definitely got that action scene feel with the airships. And it was just so much fun for me to read.
That is one of my favorite sequences. And leading up to it too.
It very
There is
standout for me, for
Oh
sure.
gosh. So yes, there's a wonderful, romance that's budding throughout the story, and I love romance, and with the
Mhm.
ages of Sasha and Aaron being like 16, definitely kept it on the adorable sweetness, cute jokes, banter, all that. So it's like leading up to this sky chase that eventually happens towards like what? Three-fourths into the
Yeah.
story? Oh
Yeah.
gosh,
Mhm.
I was really channeling my love of Star Wars, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
I have read Star Wars my whole life, And I really always loved the battles, the sky battles.
Yes. Yes.
So it's like, yeah, let's do this, but like, nope, we're weaving through Metropolis, so
Yeah.
and there's gonna be guns blazing and all sorts of fun stuff happening and peril.
Yes, and peril, which
And
makes it
peril,
all
and like
more fun.
when your characters are on edge, they're always like snapping little quips and like insults, and like it just adds to the tension, and that whole sequence is so fun.
Yeah,
And I know I've gotten a lot of people have said it's been their highlight is
yeah.
the sky chase.
Well, those kind of scenes can be so hard to write and do well. And it was like watching a movie for me. It was so easy to read and to understand like what was happening with the characters, and and it was fun. I think that was the biggest appeal of that scene is I was having a good time reading it, even with the peril and all the things and the oh no's. You're like, this is so fun. And that brings up the fact that the HeartSmith is a series.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm really, hoping that we're going to get some more airship fun.
Yes, it is in the works. I promised my street team that I was like, yes, I'm tempting, I'm teasing the idea of an actual like sky skip race again.
Yes, yeah.
Love Star Wars, influenced by Star Wars, and the
Mhm.
pod race scene was like the coolest thing when I was a kid. The coolest thing. So I certainly want to have do my own take of what a like sky race would be.
Yeah.
Like inside a city.
Yeah, that makes me lean in, definitely, especially since, I already know what happened in the first book. So tell us what's happening next. Where we've got this book launching today. You've got the Conjurer's Curse series, the Iron Kingdom series, and the HeartSmith. What can we look forward to?
Well, I am halfway through writing the sequel to HeartSmith.
Woo!
And like I haven't shared out the title, but I might as well just say it here because a little perk for the listeners.
Yes.
But my working title is Heart Wrecked.
Whoa! Oh.
So I know. It's like, oh, yikes!
Yeah.
If you've read, then you know.
Yes, you know.
So I want to do kind of sticking with the heart in the title. So doing one word like HeartSmith, Heart Wrecked, and then we'll see what happens after there. But keeping along those lines of having the word heart in there, because that is definitely a big theme.
Yes.
And the story even though it is a horror, it's a gothic horror, it has a lot of heart.
Yes, it does.
And that is something that like I do want to touch on because people do ask like, oh, if it's horror, is it gore? Is it like scary? I'm like, well, there are suspenseful moments, but it is a lighthearted read. As Angela has shared that it's adventure, it's fun, there's lots of banter, but at the core of the story, there's heart healing.
Yeah.
Aaron is a heartsmith, and won't go into details on how that happens, but it was just really important for me as I was writing the story that I was doing my own heart healing at the time. And especially when I was writing the first 3 chapters. I had written just the first 5 pages and set it down. And then that contest kind of got things percolating again. So I had done therapy. Like I'd had some trauma in my past, and I was seeing a therapist. And so to kind of work through all the trauma of my past, I wanted Aaron to go through that experience too. And he has a wonderful guide named Ada, who you will meet and probably fall in love with. And she is a guide that helps him come to a place of acceptance with things in his past. And my own counselor was Ada for me.
Wow. So, that's neat.
There are things that she has said that are really helped me, and even recently, as I am seeing my therapist again, there are things that she has said, and I have literally taken those lines and I have put them in the sequel, and Ada says them, because I am still a work in progress. And even you can do so much heart healing. Aaron does heart healing, but we are still works in progress, and we can always learn and we can always grow, and we need to check in with our heart. And that's what I definitely want readers to know, that it's okay to feel what they feel and to check in with our hearts and comfort them. Comfort your heart and know that it needs to feel sometimes. It needs to feel those
Yeah.
hurts, and that you can grow strong and have a fresh start afterwards.
Yes. I think that's what makes stories so impactful, is when they come from a real live place.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just a story. There's impact. It's so funny. That's why I don't relate to people when I'm watching a movie or I'm reading a book and they're like, it's just a story. It's just a movie. And I'm like, it's not though. There's something really real happening inside of
Mm-hmm.
me as I'm
Yes.
watching this. I really have a real love for these characters, and then I'm relating to them. And stories that are written from those real places have huge impact. That passion, that healing, the restoration, all of the sacrifice, like those things really change us. That's why words are so important, and it's important to write stories. And if I could give anybody out there advice who's wondering whether or not they should write that book that's been sitting in their imagination for days and days, years and years, however long, write it. Because you
Yes.
never know who is going to be impacted by that story that you're keeping to yourself. And it's really important for those to come out and come to life. And with the HEARTSMITH, I found it very hard to read it and not encounter healing myself. You have to. It's got that rawness about it, and it happens so naturally. It's not forced. And it's because you love the characters so much. And I think that's part of it too. When you love a character and they're
Yes.
going through something, you're connected to that
Mm-hmm.
character. And so very, very powerful read. Definitely biting my fingernails to find out what happens next.
Yes. And you may, because you're my critique partner, you will get an early peek.
Yes, yay. And I'm so afraid. But this is why it is a gothic horror. It does have those elements. They're like, oh no.
Yes.
And I would say for people, if you're wondering if this is the kind of horror book that you can read, I'm going to say yes, because I can't read horror. I can do some thriller, but I'm not the type to be able to read something super dark and really frightening. And this is just the right, has just the right touch of thriller and scariness that doesn't take you over the edge. And I think that's like what you said. It's got too much heart to really. That's not the point necessarily.
No. It's just an added addition. So if you can handle Frankenstein, or what I call Indiana Jones level horror,
yeah,
you can easily do this story.
Yes. It's so funny because I've never thought of Indiana Jones as horror, and yet
people's faces melt.
They totally do. And, because I was a kid of the 80s, so I watched all those movies and I was fine with them because I don't know,
too.
just kids of the 80s are made of rough stuff, I guess, and then I'm like, oh, kids, it's so great. You should watch it. My kids were horrified. Like, what are you having us watch? I'm like, so sorry. All I was thinking about was the action adventure. I forgot about the scary scenes.
Yes. So, it's like that the fun action adventure scenes of Indiana Jones with that little added extra bit of
that's
creepy
a good
horror moments.
Yeah, I super love it. Well, I'm glad you wrote this book. I'm excited about book 2. I'm excited about the Iron Kingdom series and what's next for that. So tell us a little bit about that too.
Yes, the third book, The Ghost Gambit, is written. Yes.
Woo! And it's so good.
Thank you. And I am really hoping that it will be released next year. Could be the fall, could be winter if I'm keeping along with my December releases. It didn't happen this year, but that's because we were making way for this one. And I wanted to focus on this new story. So that way it builds the anticipation. I know all of you who hated me for the cliffhanger at the end of the Race of Argent. Well, it will pay off. So book 3 is coming, and it is exciting, and it just hits you in all the feels. I love writing medieval fantasy, and I think the fun part for HEARTSMITH is that it is so different, but it still has the same heart that I have as a writer, and you will definitely see that in my character driven storytelling and narrative. So I am so excited for you all to be able to see what comes next, Heartwrecked and The Ghost Gambit and beyond. Because they both are series and there's going to be more.
Yeah.
There's going to be more. Yay!
And you guys, today is release day. So please get online and make it a big celebration for Stephanie. Purchase it, get the ebook, get the paperback, leave a review, and support her and love her on social media today. Share her posts, make sure people know that her book is out. And for those of you who would like a signed copy, you can go over to her Linktree and purchase a signed copy, and it comes with goodies.
Yes.
Look at these goodies. And I wish I still had the wrapping, but it comes very wrapped very cool. And
I will wrap it very nicely.
Yes. It's,
Make
it's
it
very
special.
Fun. Yes. So be sure to get onto the Linktree and purchase that.
My Linktree is Stephanie Cotta, and you will find it in my bio on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and or my website. Yep.
Yes. So get on there and purchase that. How great would it be if you overwhelmed her with purchasing the signed copies to where she couldn't get it done in a day or two because there's just too many orders coming in. So show her all the love and congratulations. I'm so proud of you. Look at your amazing books. I love reading them.
I gotta add it on the display table.
See, I've got 3. Oops, here, this way.
Yep.
It's everything's backwards. So I got my 3.
I know.
And then she's got her 3. Here we go. Doing this together. It's so fun. Thank you for joining us. We will be dropping an episode about our Twilight experience, so be looking forward to that. We're excited to share with you. It was a very fun adventure, and we have a lot of really fun things to share about that experience. Please leave us a like or a comment. Please let Stephanie know if you've read her book or if you're buying her book. Show her the love. Drop a congratulations today. And thank you for watching our episodes and being part of our Ink Mages community. And we'll see you next time.